Hello and welcome to Estafet, where we interview Earth members and get them introduced to the community. Last time, Anna was in Romania to meet Adina, and then Adina introduced us to Victor. So we are here in Romania and with Victor. Hi, Victor. Welcome to Estafet, and thank you for taking the time to do this.
Yes, thank you for your invitation. Yeah.
Can you just introduce yourself with what do you do, where do you live, where you are born, and about your education and trainings you have?
Okay, so in this life, my name is Victor, but yeah, I had other past lives, other countries. I'm in Romania now, in Bucharest. I like to travel a lot, but my work is here. About my studies, I studied a lot in this life. So my first university was electronics and telecommunication. And after that, I was wondering what I want to do with my life. Do I still want to work with computers and mobile phones and devices, or do I want to work with people? So then I changed. I started psychology. I was trained in Gestalt therapy for 5 years, and exactly at the same time, I started regression therapy. So 2007 was in September, I started training with Marianne in Evadio school. And I immediately got in love with regression therapy. I knew that I'm going to start a school at some point, and I did that in 2016. And back then, this wasn't known in Romania. We were actually the pioneers in 2007 in Romania with regression therapy. And I know I was focused, and I like paranormal things, and that combined a bit, therapy and paranormal. It was quite paranormal at that point. And I started to have clients starting 2008, even if I wasn't allowed. I mean, I wasn't legal, but life pushed me. And then I became an Earth member, a student member in 2009, and later my first workshop presentation was in Dublin in 2015 at the annual convention. And I was noticed, and immediately I started being a board member. So 1 year later, in 2016, I was in the board. It was for 6 years, and the last 2 years from the board, I was the president of Earth, exactly when COVID struck. So it wasn't easy. I'm also a certified therapist, a certified regression therapist, and I combined more methods. So it's Gestalt, it's regression therapy, it's timeline healing. I did Sarah Keller School. I do some neuro-linguistic programming. Sometimes I combine art. I'm also a painter. Yeah, what else? I wrote a book about soul fragmentation.
Wow.
This is English and Romanian also. And also in 2008, so that was the moment of the change. I started Aikido, Ki Aikido. So I have 15 years of Ki Aikido. After that, I kind of taken a break because I have to start my own school. So I'm a sensei, but I don't have a practice that is constant. So yeah, but this helped me to balance mind and spirit and my body. So this, I think another thing is I like to travel. So I visited a lot of countries, a lot of spiritual countries. I was in Tibet. I had a Buddhist master that I followed for 2 years. And I organized here in Romania workshops and meetings for him. I also was in India. I visited Sai Baba when he was alive. I actually saw him like he was materializing things with his bare hands. I was there. I was in Brazil, João de Deus, while he was still okay. Now he's ill. So I did all kind of pilgrim. That was my awakening, I guess, in that period. So now I'm more stable. I don't search that more for my inner self. I have my school that I started in 2016. I have students, 2 groups now. And yeah, it's work in progress. I just started a new program for the people that are not in my school. I'm healing abuse trauma, and this is very deep. So I'm starting this 3-month program now, intensive program. And yeah, it's work in progress. And I like to keep in touch with other associations. I was invited to teach, I was online in India and Russia because the war started. So my trip was canceled, and then I had to do it online. And this year I'm going to visit Spain. It's a big congress in May. I'm going to present there, and then Estonia. So things are just it's all open. I have a lot of things to to choose from, and I'm happy for that.
So I would like to know more about your book, Soul Fragmentation, and also about your school and your experience. How do you combine all this experience from different countries in your school? But let's talk about your book first. What would you like to choose, book or school?
So there's a story behind the book. I didn't want to write a book. I wrote it in 2012. I was at a conference we have also in Romania, and it's international a transpersonal psychology association. So I was invited to their conference. I had a lecture there, and then they asked me, well, you can write an article for our book. So I started writing an article, and I write it, and then the book the article was bigger than it's supposed to be. So a book was formed, and I'm working now to the second edition. So I want to do it to be bigger. I have another project, but I don't know if I'll do it very soon. I have a lot of studies, a lot of case studies, and I would like to write a book about transformational journeys with my patients. And I have a story, for example, it's not in the book, but maybe in the next one. There were many cases that came that were labeled as not being able to be cured for the allopathic medicine. So there was one lady that came to me, and she couldn't see, so she was blind. And back then, I think it was 10 years ago, she said, can I cure? Can I see again? And I was like, at that point, I was, of course. So let's work. So we worked. And after that, I gave her some exercises. I did regression and everything that I could, also bioenergy therapy and everything. In 2 weeks, she called me and she said, I'm not so happy with your therapy. I'm not pleased. And I said, okay, what is happening? And she said, I was completely blind, and now I start seeing shapes, the light near the bodies of the people. And I was like, whoa, so that's a very big change. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And she was like, well, yeah, but shouldn't that be faster? I mean, like, she wanted to see clear in a few weeks. So for me, that was like, it really works. And I had some cases
And
like
that's
that.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
people
amazing experience.
that barely hear, and they started to hear again. They came with cancer, and they came with autoimmune disease. So a lot of cases, interesting cases that I should write, but currently I'm with my school. So now in my school, I started to notice that I cannot manage everything by myself. The last group that I started 1 year ago, there were around 30 people. So that's a lot. And then I started to prepare supervisors and trainers. So my job is it's making it bigger, maybe go in other cities in Romania, not only Bucharest. And my specialty is processing trauma. So while I was in the master's degree, I studied clinical psychology and also how to heal the trauma. And I came to this point that there are two main traumas. So the first one is the trauma of losing. So you lose something, you lose a meaningful relationship, or you can lose somebody that is dear, or you lose your abundance. So something is taken. Okay, so when you are abandoned, or when you are somebody rejects you, this is a trauma of loss. And the second one is the trauma of abuse, because when you have an imbalance, somebody that is more powerful than you can abuse you. And abuse doesn't mean that you have to be beaten or, you know, I'm explaining to my students and also to my clients that if somebody comes and gets beyond your boundaries without your consent, that is already abuse from my point of view. And it's physical abuse or verbal abuse, so all kind of abuse. So I'm working now, I'm focusing on the abuse trauma, because when I wrote this book, the soul fragmentation book, I was my mother was very ill in that period, so, and she died after 2 years after this book was out. She died of cancer. So I was very focused on healing this losing, you know, trauma. So I've been working for the last 10 years, and this last year in December, we were, and that's another story. We were in Cancun at Joe Dispenza. Maybe you know Joe Dispenza. It's the first retreat, 10 days retreat, and we are there, and I'm with my girlfriend. And something happens. I won't get too much into the story, but we go to the hospital. We have to go to the hospital. And in that hospital, we were like in a jail. We couldn't get out. They in Mexico, they have this thing for tourists to get money from us. So they take my credit card and they took $2,000 from it just to be sure. And they said, okay, you'll get it back. And after 6 hours of treatment, you know, we wanted to get out from there. And they said you have to pay another $4,000. So we had to pay 6,000. And of course, this is abuse. We wanted to get out with the taxi. They said they get in front of the taxi. They said you are not allowed to leave. We are going to get the police. You are going to go to jail. We won't let you get out from the country. You have to pay. And we had the insurance, but they didn't want insurance. And we weren't allowed to get out to get food, for example, for 1 day. Okay, so we stayed there and so on. So I said, well, this is something that happens. So it means that I still have in myself the abuse trauma. And then I switched. And I said, I want to give this project, this program for healing the abuse. But before that, I had to switch something inside of myself. And I was doing a meditation and changing the boxes meditation from Joe Dispenza. So I did 20 minutes of meditation because I said, okay, we cannot pay. We are trapped here. What can we do? So I closed my eyes, and for 20 minutes, I meditated. And when I opened my eyes, I was smiling, and I could feel love for the aggressors. You know, they were in front of me. And I said, okay, now I love you. They thought I'm crazy. Half an hour later, we received a donation from somebody that we didn't know, and we could get out from there. So
Wow.
this was the power that, yeah, in that moment I said, okay, I have to do something meaningful. I mean, not to let it just be like that.
Yeah.
So from that moment, you know, I switched from the healing of the lost trauma, healing to abuse trauma. I don't know how much time it will last, but I'm here now. So I'm also healing the abuse that is done to me. And sometimes without knowing, I can be very hard with my students. So I can also be like an aggressor for them. So yeah, so that's the many stories. It's
That's amazing. Are you teaching this method
yeah,
in
this
abuse trauma?
yeah, it's starting on Monday. So actually in few days we are going to start this program. And maybe I'll repeat it maybe in autumn. Maybe also for other languages. I don't know. For now, I'm only teaching Romanian, but I also got an offer to do a training to train people from Estonia, like 1 year and a half. Maybe I'll do an international program, train people, and in parallel, international program of healing. But now I have to train people that would help me, you know, not to do it alone. So yeah.
That's really amazing. And Adina has recommended you as a guest over here. And her special question was, what's your favorite specialty in regression therapy? Because you have so many techniques, you have been doing so much and different type of healing. What's your special session? What you really enjoy doing? What would you like to talk about?
So it's a place where I go with clients that can and have this level of consciousness, and they are ready to access it. As I told you, I am specialized in working with trauma, and it's the loss trauma and abuse trauma. So I put that at the beginning. You know, my technique is, if the person comes only once in my office and we have a session, what would be the best thing that I can offer so that his or her problem would disappear, or would have a very good outcome. So I went and the name is the primordial trauma. And we have a primordial trauma in the present life, so like a root cause. So I'm curious what happened in the present life that affected your personality so much, so you have these problems and blockages. And usually we find out very early in the childhood: abuse, or losing somebody, being rejected, being abandoned. If you go to other past lives, and you go and you go and you go, then you have the earth past lives, then you have the past lives on other planets, and then you have past lives when you don't have a body, and eventually you go to the source. So while we are in the source, everything is good. Everything is light, and you can imagine like little fish that swim in this big bubble. So everything is nice. We are free, and at some point it's time to go. Okay, so we individualize ourselves as souls, and then the creator, God, or the universe says, okay, it's time to go, or we wish to experience more. Not all of us are prepared, so mostly are not prepared. So we have to go, and then the first trauma is losing your first home. So this is the first trauma of losing, the first part of the primordial trauma. When you go, you have a very young mind. So of course, like a little child, you think, okay, the source kicked me out. Probably I did something wrong, or I'm not enough. And then you start questioning yourself, because usually you get out from the source with the first questions: who am I? Or I want to experience more, or what is beyond the veil? Okay. But when we address this question, because we are curious souls and we are programmed being curious and explore, we don't know what will happen next. So what happens next is that we want to go back, we cannot, the door is closed. So we get this trauma, and then we are very vulnerable. And of course, we wished, I want to experience more than what is inside the source, let's say inside. And then we access the duality. We don't know, the next step is duality, but that's it. And entering the duality means that we have to enter into the darkness. And then the second part of the primordial trauma is the first abuse. So the meeting with the darkness. And now as I understand, the darkness is a program. And the darkness feeds on light, or builds on light, and then it feeds on all the fear that we have and all the reactions that we have when we go out of the source, we leave our first trauma, and maybe we're afraid, or we freeze, or whatever. The trauma is so big that we need so many lives after that to process it. And as we have our, let's see, experience, we react to the darkness, that reaction or that thoughts, then we can see in the present life when we are being birthed, for example. So if we have a very long birth, or we born with our umbilical cord near our neck, so everything, being abandoned, being rejected by our parents, or the father wants a boy and you are a girl. So all these things, they keep repeating, and they keep repeating because they are not solved. So then the cycle ends. So we start present life, we go back, primordial trauma, and then we connect the primordial trauma, and the first time we lost our home with the present life. And then healing happens, and it is very effective and extraordinary, and also spiritual. So, yeah.
Maybe that's why Adina must have told or must have given this question, because then she knows the depth of your techniques and what you do.
There are not so many people in Romania that do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know in Europe how many there are. Because in order to do that, first you kind of have to connect with your higher self, or something more than is in this body. And then as a trainer and as a therapist, I have to heal my primordial trauma, at least in 80% or 90% of it, in order to be able to guide others for healing. So yeah, today I think it's quite rare in Romania.
That's very good. And I wish you all the best, and I wish you um, good luck for the book and also for the seminars and workshop you're doing. And I would wish that you spread it more and more to many countries.
Thank you. And I think I also have a message, ending message.
Yeah, please do.
Well, at some point I wanted to say something to the other therapist, because I was experiencing, now I'm in a position that I have to start promoting myself, and I'm not very comfortable with promoting myself. I'm more comfortable being in my office, working one-on-one, and maybe small workshops. So what happens now is that I started to show myself, and I started to list all my trainings and everything that I did. And this morning, I calculated how many hours I have with regression therapy. Actually, ChatGPT helped me with that, with individual therapy trainings, with my students, conferences, and everything. And the answer was around 25,000 hours of regression therapy,
Oh,
since I started. And I was
wow.
like, whoa, that's a lot.
Really, really amazing.
And then I saw that most of the people that are in Earth on this association, our association, our past lives were as healers or masters. So this is not the first life that we are healers, therapists. And the problem is that we were opening the road for the others. So as I can say, we were born before our time. Bringing new things and things like that. So people didn't understand us. This is what I see. And we were considered like witches, and then, the burn at the stake, and a lot of horrible deaths, and inquisition and everything. So we come in this present life, and then we have this program: if I show myself, I'm going to die, or something bad will happen. So what happens, and what I see in Earth, is that we have a lot of valuable therapists, and they are hiding, or we are asking too little for our services, because if you have a power or you have a special spiritual ability, then you have to do it for free. And this is the past. This is our past lives as priests or nuns or whatever it was, their masters, and giving everything for free, everything. So this is very consuming. So my first message is that we have to show ourselves. This method is very valuable, and the people need it. They don't have so much time now to work with psychotherapy, going once per week, 1 hour, and then after 3 years you have something there you can see as change. So this is very valuable. So this is the first thing. And the second one is we have to constantly improve. And in order for constantly to improve our practice, there is a lot of work that we have to do with us. And sometimes we can be overburdened with a lot of work, and then we don't have time for ourselves. So the thing that we have to do is that we have to balance time with ourselves, time with our clients, and time with family. And so this is also very important. We have to rest. We need to rest. Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to say that, not to forget it. It seems like
Yeah, and that's very valuable message for sure.
I have a message also for Earth. For the last years that I was in Earth, I keep pushing and saying we have to promote ourselves, because it's the same reason. We stay like hiding, and there are a lot of practices that are not so valuable. I mean, they have their value, but they're not so valuable as regression therapy. And we just have to invest more, maybe in PR, and promote and have courage. And the second thing that I'm also working now with the Earth College is to have good standards. So we are working now to document, to have the standards for the new schools, that if they want to apply and be Earth members, they have now guidelines and they know what to do. And we have these standards. So these 2 points, promote and good standards, I think that's, yeah. that's my message for Earth.
Thank you so much. And now we are nearing the end of our little interview. Victor, thank you so much. As the tradition goes, you know, the person who is being interviewed has got to choose the next person. So, whom would you like to be the next as a guest?
Well, it was a hard question because I was thinking, should I stay in Romania or go outside of Romania? But I said, we'll stay in Romania still. I hope
Good.
that's okay. I would like to recommend Alexandra Ștefănescu. And well, she's my partner, so I know her. I know how she's working. She's the only one currently trained in Tasso Institute. You know, Tasso International. It's like the biggest school in Europe and maybe in the world. So she went there in Netherlands. She trained there. I know her. I know her work. And what I also know is that she's still hiding her glow. So I was like, okay, show yourself. And it's like an encouragement from me to her to continue working. And there is a question, and there is something that she likes to look. Well, it's about what is her opinion about birth and prenatal period,
Wow.
and what is the impact on the current life. And well, maybe she can choose. I mean, this is the easy question. And for me, what I would, she doesn't know that, by the way. My challenge with, I know that she started to work with cancer patients, and she's collaborating with Martin Roche, that they met in last annual convention. So I know that her passion is helping those people, but it's just at the beginning. So maybe she will want to say a few things about cancer and cancer patients. So that's not part of the plan, but just came out. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'm curious already to talk to her and to know more about this. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Victor, for your time and for sharing.
Thank you
And
also. Yeah, it was very nice time with you.
thank you so much. And so we're going to stay in Romania for the next interview as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and stay tuned to Alexandra. Listen to her. Thank you so much.